Hey everyone, welcome back to the Sub 30 series. This episode is going to be how to sub 20 instead of sub 30. So this could be you. You could be sitting back and saying, Bowler, I watched your entire sub 30 series and I have a sub 30. What's next? And the next logical step is going to be sub 20, right? Sub 25 is like a better run, but sub 20 is where it really starts to get serious, right? In 42 runs of mine, I've only had 6 of them in game time. And it took me only 5 weeks to go from not having a personal best in RSG to having a sub 30. But then it took me 10 months to go from having a sub 30 to having a sub 20. So I'm going to break it down for you. What it comes down to is experience. A whole lot of it. No runner has gone from not having personal best to having a sub 20 on the first run. It's not going to happen. That would be like if you're trying to learn climbing and you try to climb like Mount Everest on your first attempt. It's not going to work. You need to work your way up there. Now, with experience, what really comes out of this is an art form. You see, throughout the entire sub 30 series, I've talked a lot about the theoretical knowledge that goes into this category. I've not talked about the art form that this category is. Every runner has a unique motivation and unique play style. I'm notorious for playing safe. I hate to say it, but I like to be consistent, and I do not like to take risks. And this of course reflects into real life as well. But the other point that I'm going to make here is that you have to reflect on your runs. You have to go back and you have to watch and you have to see, okay, I messed up here. I could have done this better. You have to go back in your runs and you have to analyze them and really say, oh, I didn't know what to do at this point, so I wasted 10 seconds looking at my inventory. Just stuff like that. That really adds up after a while. Like 1 cycles, you should learn them. It really takes away a lot of time. There's a whole lot of things that you have to go through and you have to analyze and say, okay, I could have done this better. Like in this village right here, I'll be honest, this iron golem hit me and it probably cost about 8-10 seconds off the run. And now I'm down health, so I have to eat food. So that was something that I should have avoided. However, the other thing too is gray time. And I touched on this a little bit. But gray time is like where you don't know what to do, so you kind of stand there. Like, we have a saying, a deer in the headlights, where like if you're driving and there's a deer in the road, it just kind of stands there and stares at you and it doesn't really know what to do because it thinks it can't see you or something. I don't know. But that's what the saying is, right? And you kind of stand there and you go, oh, I don't know what to do, right? And you lose a whole bunch of time due to not knowing what to do, right? So you have to eliminate some of that. You have to really think chronologically and think about, okay, what is the next step? Where do I go from here, right? Speedrunning is not about thinking 1 step in advance. It's thinking like 5 steps in advance. Okay. You have to go, okay, here's the fortress. How am I going to get to the blaze spawner? Not here's the fortress. Okay, now what? No, get to the blaze spawner. Don't worry about it. Okay? Now, of course, I can say all of this, but the truth is it takes a lot of time to realize that. It's not going to be like the first run or the second run where you realize this. And some things are out of your control. I'll be honest. Runners are oftentimes harsh on themselves because it takes them a bit longer to do nav, or, it takes them a bit to get to the fortress or something, but some of those things are just out of your control, right? That's not your fault. If the portal room is 17 rooms deep in the stronghold, it's not your fault that it's going to take you a while to navigate the stronghold, right? And some seeds are just better than others, right? The seed that you see me play right here is probably not the best seed that I've ever rolled. I will die on this hill. That is not the best seed I've ever rolled, right? It is just how I played it. Like me running on top of this fortress here, this was a decision that I am very proud of. But if you gave an experienced bowler this seed, I would have probably not sub 20 to this. This is just the result of experience, right? And again, this seed and the way I played it could be better. Of course it can be. But, you know, you're not going to be perfect. I'm not going to play the seed perfect. And as Ophi has pointed out, the perfect run does not exist, right? You are never going to get a run that is going to be 100% perfect. It's not going to happen, right? That's why we have like segmented and, you know, other runs, other categories that, you know, are that are like meant to be perfect kind of thing, because there's no seed in RSG that's going to be perfect. That's why we keep getting new world records and stuff, right? But I'm going to emphasize reflection again, because in this fortress, I think I messed up. I think there's a few misplays here. I kind of blocked this off. I don't think I should have done that. I have an iron sword here. There's no reason that I should have blocked off the blazes. Yes, this fortress is a little bit open, but the blazes from the other parts of the fortress aren't gonna shoot at me. So there's no reason I should have blocked this off. I look back at this and I say, that's a misplay. I'll remember that for next time. And if I'm in this situation again, I can remember this moment and I could go, oh yeah, right. I messed up at that point. I have to go back and I have to fix it. Right, like right here, kind of actually it's about 10 seconds later, bit of a hairy situation. But again, I could have completely avoided this, but this is all just self-reflection. This is me just looking back and saying, yeah, that's on me. And it's a harder skill to learn, but it's what you have to do. So another thing is nerves. Of course, if you're on good pace and you know you're on good pace, you're going to be nervous. I can't help that. I get nervous. I mean, everyone in the world, when they're on good pace, does get nervous. That's fine. But I'm not going to say get used to it, but there's ways that you can get around that. For me, I've never used a timer in any one of my runs. That helps me out, you know. And I know during this run that I was shaking, but a lot of people, when they watched this run, said, "Oh wow, you didn't really seem nervous," and I was, but I've been in this situation before. You know, I've been on good pace before. This is not the first time, so there's that. You know, you have to, again, a lot of this comes down to just experience. This is all just an art form, right? Now this, where I'm setting up the Enderman umbrella, this is very textbook, right? But the way you look at the Enderman and how you navigate this warped is more or less an art form, right? And I will point this out again. Don't be discouraged. Some things are not in your control. The longer you play, just naturally the better you'll get, as long as you aren't as long as you are actively reflecting on your runs. As long as you're actively reflecting on your runs and looking back and going, oh, okay, I wasted 10 seconds here, and yeah, this could have been a little bit better. As long as, if you have the ability to do that on your own, that's going to make you a very good runner, with time, of course. So that is going to be, again, just the largest thing that I can preach. Another thing is reset efficiency. I don't think runners struggle with this that much, but just knowing where to reset, you know, I mean, just naturally, the more seeds you roll, the more good seeds you're going to get. That's just how it works. So just know how to reset and where to reset. That's probably the best goal. I'm not going to tell you to use multi, because I don't like multi, but listen, if you find multi to be a good thing for you, you could use it. I'm not gonna stop you. Right? You can get a lot of seeds really, really quickly with multi. And right around here, I do make another misplay. I will point this out. I should have checked pearls around here. I just felt I didn't have enough because of how short this warp was. But I've, I mean, I've stared at so many Endermen. I've taken down so many Endermen at this point. Sword durability, sometimes I used to gauge how many Endermen I've taken down after the fortress. And it's about at that point that I should be checking. But I'm going to take down this last Enderman, and now I'm going to check. But I should have checked a bit sooner, because it's around here that I take down this Enderman, and then I have 19 pearls. And yeah, having 19 pearls, not optimal, right? Not optimal. Because that signifies that I've killed, at least 6-7 more Endermen than I really needed to. I mean, especially assuming like all of them drop pearls, which they don't. So upwards of like 10-12 Endermen that I just didn't need to. But it's about making the best of what you have. This is another thing. Right? You have these resources. I have all these extra pearls, and in this run, I use them to very great effect. Of course, if you haven't seen the run, we will show you later on. And this is another little point here that I could have saved a few seconds. I look around, I'm like, right. And then I realize, okay, I should just go up here. Again, that costs just another couple of seconds here and there. And this is my personal best. So, of course, a lot of room for improvement even with the run. I'm, of course, still insanely happy with this run. And if I rolled this seed today, I probably would have a worse time, honestly. But another thing that's not in your control is load times. I'm going to forever preach that. But here we are, we're out of the nether, and now I'm going to start using those pearls. So, there we go. Now, great time. The time that you're kind of not doing much, you don't know what to do, you don't know what the next move is, right? I'm going to touch on that a little bit more. This run, I have barely any gray time, except for that time that I just showed you that I was in the nether and I was like, oh, I don't know what to do, right? I didn't know where to go. If you go back and look at my very early sub-30s, my 2552, my 2510, you're going to find that I stood around a whole lot. And that cost me probably minutes if you stack them up. Right? There's a lot of time that I wasted just doing nothing. That's probably the number one thing that I see as runners kind of don't know what they're doing sometimes. And that is going to be one of the largest things that if you overcome, it'll be pretty good. Now right here, of course, I know to make an iron pickaxe. I was kind of not trusty of my pickaxe durability, so of course I have to make a new sword, and then I don't trust, or a new pickaxe, and then I don't trust how I did sprinks earlier, so like I do it again. I did not need to do this. Again, this is another little bit of a time loss here. Or I like half did sprinks, I don't know. I don't know what I was up to, but I was going down here, and of course the run's going to be over soon. But the last thing I really want to tell you about is one cycles. I did not do a video on one cycles. I probably should, but I'm going to tell you the three one cycles that I think you need to know for a sub 30, or especially a sub 20. You need to know minor cycle, and I do minor cycle in this run, so you'll get to see how it's performed. There's also the original one cycle with just one obsidian. Now, minor cycle requires no obsidian. Both minor cycle and the original one cycle, the default one cycle, it's sometimes called, both use lava. Now, the next one cycle is dank cycle. It requires at least 3 obsidian, and it does not require lava, but it's very fast. So, if you ever have 3 obsidian, dank cycle. If you only have 1 obsidian, do the original one cycle. And if you don't have any obsidian, of course, you have to do minor cycle. And one cycling on pace, is kind of difficult, I'll be honest with you, because if it all comes down to those nerves again, right? Like around here, I'm running through a stronghold, I can feel the pace leaving my body, right? Like, you're in this situation, and you're running around, and you're just desperately trying to find it, and you can just feel the time just ticking, right? it's a terrible feeling. But again, this is not in my control. I think I nabbed the stronghold honestly. Okay, I could have done better, yeah. But I mean, who would know to go this way? Come on now. You know, everyone goes mid. Mid is still the way to go. So I'm not unhappy with this. It was just not my control, so I can't really be mad about it, right? But note 1 cycles, it all comes down to experience. So don't be frustrated, right? When you just don't know some things, you just have to look them up. You have to gain some more knowledge, and that's fine. I mean, I didn't know anything when I started, right? You're allowed to know nothing when you start this game, when you start the speedrun. You're allowed to. No one's going to stop you. Right, and again, here's me just still using those ender pearls. You have to be a little bit crafty. You have to be a little bit creative. You have to use whatever you're given to its absolute highest effect. Right, and you're going to see a prime example of the miner cycle here. Right, you dig out this block. I like digging out that block. You could also dig out the one on the other side. But you activate the script bug here, set up a couple blocks, place these 2 beds, and then you do the standard lava tower here. Right, I eat a piece of bread. You strap the lava down. The lava makes the dragon kind of sink, so you have enough time to get off the 3rd bed. And there you are. That's how you do the miner cycle. But don't be discouraged. Always gain experience. And with that, I'll see you all in the next video.